guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be doing some more work on the CVO. So as you may have recalled from previous videos, I changed out the stock Harley brake arm for a Thrashin adjustable brake arm, and then I used their adapter to maintain the stock CVO brake pedal and kept my boards on there, didn't change those out. Now that I seem to have just about everything else over there, I think I'm ready to just go all Thrashin products. So we're going to switch those out and go with the Thrashin bagger boards that are adjustable, and I'll show that a little bit more on the close-up when we do the parts. And then also the P54 brake pedal, which I had on my Road Glide ST. Big difference in size and everything else for that, and I love the grip, plus it matches everything because that's important. And then we're also going to do the Thrashin adjustable shift lever, or shift arm. I love this thing, it works really well. And then I'm also going to do the easy shift. Now this bike does not have a problem really going into neutral. It's at probably about an 85% success rate in it, but there are times that it does stumble trying to get up into neutral. Being that I already have so much Thrashin parts on there, I'm just going to complete the set. We're just going to put it all the way through and get it on there because I really like the way they look and they're high quality products and have not had a single issue with anything from Thrashin that I've put on my bike. So very happy with all of it. So anyway, you can see we're getting ready to go here. Got it all laid out, my towel ready to do work. I've got a table over here. I'm going to put all the parts on and show you what everything looks like. Plus describe something you got to order for the 23s and something I'm not going to order for the 23s because I have some extra hardware. I'll explain that in a minute. But other than that, let me get it flipped around. I'll get the parts over there and we'll take a look at what comes with it, and then we'll get to wrenching. All right, see you in a minute. All right, so I got all the parts laid out that I'm going to put on today, and so we're going to start over here on this side just because we got screws and things over there. You get some directions, you get the Thrashin color one-pager for the floorboards, you get the Thrashin easy shift inner arm color instructions, we've got the shift linkage, and there's a bolt here that goes in this side and a bolt here that goes in this side, and then that nut goes on it there. We've got the bagger boards, and so you can see they're pretty good size. They're, you know, probably an inch or so bigger than the other ones. And the neat thing about these is when you start prepping them ready to go, you get two for each side of these brackets here, these mounts, and you can adjust these if you want your boards forward or you want your boards backwards, depending on your choice and preference. So you put those there like that when you prep those up and turn them on, put them on, and you're good to go for that. And then we've got the easy shift itself with a little washer that's going to go inside of here. And then we got the P54 foot peg. I'm changing that out because I'm switching over to these. I'm going to get rid of my stock CVO brake pedal and go with the P54. I had that on my Road Glide ST. I really liked it, and especially with the adjustable brake arm, works really good. And then you've got all your various hardware that I've got Loctite and everything else. One difference that you guys have to know for the 23 CVOs is in the prior bikes you would maintain and use the existing hardware to mount this guy up to the floorboard mounts. In this bike, you have to order 4 shoulder bolts from HD, and that's HD part number 50674-05, and I'll put that in the description because the stock bolts hang out about that far, so they're a little bit too long. You could use them, it'll look like crap and everything else, but that's what it is. Myself, I'm going to do something a little different. I have some spare Thrashin hardware that I did from previous installations and removals. And so I'm going to use these and put them in here so I get the cool little ARP bolts and the 12-point bolt heads on there that look really sexy with the rest of it. So I'm going to cheat and use those. I'll probably end up getting the other bolts too as well, just so I have the ones that they recommend on there. But for now, I'm going to put those on because I want to be different. And then the other stuff you've got here is a couple different ratchets. You got some extensions. You've got your 7/16 socket, your 1/2-inch socket. You've got your 3/8 12-point socket. Of course, 5/16 for me, don't worry about that. You got the 5/16 hex bit and a 3/16 hex bit for all this hardware here. So Pretty simple to install these. I've done them before. If you guys see my video that I did on the Road Glide ST, you'll know that I did this install, pretty much all this stuff on there already. Great product, easy to do and all that, so you can check that video out as well if you've got one of those model bikes. But we're going to get everything moved over and laid out on the lift, and we're going to start getting this stuff installed. So back in a second. All right, so now we got the camera turned around, hopefully up nice and close so you can see what's going on right here. This is the area that we're going to be working on. We're going to be taking off the stock boards, the brake pedal, and then putting all the Thrashin parts on. I've gone ahead and pre-fit the new bagger boards with the brackets like they're supposed to go on. Like I said, you can select which way you want to go. You can move these over to go forward, middle, stock, back, whatever. I'm having these go like this because I want them to be a little bit more towards the back so you can see the extension back here that it has on the back. So happy with that. And then the first thing we need to do is we're going to take out these bolts right here and nuts. So it's there's 3/16 hex and a 7/16 socket on here that'll allow us to take this board off, and then we'll work on doing that. So let's get that going. And there's our stock board removed. The reason I did that first is because I want clearance to get back here to this 1/2" acorn nut back here to take off the original modified brake arm pedal. Okay, so there you have the stock brake pad off. You can see that little bolt right there. This is the Thrashin adapter that bolts into the adjustable brake arm that we're going to replace with the P54 and this bolt. So this is a 5/16 hex bit. So we're just going to get an extension on there and break this guy loose. And this is their adapter that if you want to keep the stock brake pedal, you can put that on there. Also included in my previous video. So now you can do a couple things. You can put the board on, or you can put this on. I'm going to go ahead and put the P54 on, get it set, and then I can just adjust it afterwards. But what this comes with is your P54 pedal, and you can see it's got an inset in there, and then the screw hole is back there, and it comes with this little adapter here, and there's a flat side here and a flat side here, and then there's a rounded side. So you want to put the flat side in so it sits nice and firm, and you take your new bolt with your Loctite on it and you shove it in through like that. And so now, because that's in there a little bit, I'm going to use a 5/16 hex bit T-bar. So we're just going to stick this guy in here and start getting it put in place. And you can leave it loose so it can go around and adjust it afterwards, but now it's not going to be in the way of me doing my board. So I'm just going to get it kind of where I think, just as a feel, and give it a little snug so it doesn't flop around on me, and we'll adjust it later. Now, when we put on the board, you can see that this is going to slide right in these spots right here. Right, they're going to go in there like that and slide into that area. Because we didn't get the other hardware, and I have the ones that I'm going to use, which is the prior Thrashin hardware here, that's going to go in through here, through these two here, and get in there. If you don't have that hardware, then you just order the Harley parts as listed in the parts breakdown. So this is just going to sit right here. It's going to go like this and set down right on top of that, and then we'll put the bolts through. All right, once you get them down, you can check your movement. Now I have different pipes on here, so I have a heat shield right here because of the way my SBC pipe comes down and hits. If my boot hits here and sits on this, it's gonna melt them on this exhaust. But I do have about 1/8 of an inch clearance back here on that, so I'm fine. And this still allows it to move up, you know, if I get a little low or something like that, which is, you know, by design. But now you can see what it looks like all on there, and then we can adjust the brake pedal position based on what it looks like for that. So now that I have an idea, I'm going to put it where I think it'll work well for my traction, and then snug that down. All right, then check your functionality. Make sure everything works, and there you have the Thrashin Boards. So now what we're going to do is we're going to flip around the other side, and we'll get that and all the linkages things put on that one. So back in a sec. All right, so now we're switched around over here on the other side, and you can see we're going to be taking this board off. You can see the shoulder bolts here a little more clearly with the movement. We've got the shift linkage. We've got the current inner arm right here. And so what we're going to start with is we're going to start with the shift linkage, just because I kind of want to work this way first before I start getting in here. The horn's kind of in the way a little bit. We have to get to this bolt to take this inner arm out, but first we have to pull this whole assembly off. So right now I'm just going to kind of match my shift linkage as closely as I think I can to where it is right now, and then I can adjust it once I get the new one in place and everything's ready to go. All right, we're going to start back here on this back one because it's kind of in a hassle of a spot. Recommendation, make sure you are wearing gloves. These things, sharp. I say it every time, but sometimes I get a little cocky and don't do it, and I regret it. So now we're going to loosen these up. Yeah, lots of Loctite on those. And that frees that up. And then now we'll take this side and get this piece off. Now I could just leave this attached since I'm replacing all of this, and just take this piece out and lift it all up together and pull this out. Matter of fact, let's do that. All right, so now we got it loose. One thing you want to kind of look at is where do you have your levers or your shift arms. I like to keep an idea where it is, just so that I can try to get it as close as possible. I've tried to stick tape on here and it doesn't hold because of my ceramic coating, but I'll just look and do a measurement. I'm right here at this crease, so if I put the whole piece back on, that crease right there would be a good thing. Reason why you do that is because when you take this part out, your whole assembly rocks. Now you're like, oh no, where was it at, right? So we don't want to have that happen. So we got that disconnected, and now what we're going to do is we're going to take out this bolt back here on the inner shift arm and pull this whole assembly out so we can put the new shift arm, easy shift arm in there, right? So that guy is a 3/16, and we'll see how we get in. Okay, so there's a retaining screw for that inner arm. And now that that's out, this whole shift linkage will pull out in one piece. I don't have to change any of the other stuff, right? So I'm just going to set that right there. And now my inner arm's out, and the linkage, original linkage that's on there. So, okay, so now to try to make it easier on myself, I'm going to connect up the linkage just loosely, and then connect the back arm and this, and put this kind of in here to kind of give me an idea where that needs to sit to minimize, again, any problems that I have putting it back together. So you've got your ARP bolt here, your nut with your Loctite, and that little washer goes behind the head of this bolt right here. And so that's in, and then now we're going to start this one back here in the back. And these are 12.38 for the ARP bolts. Okay, so now I'm just gonna kind of hold it, and then I'm gonna get this bolt started. Got my gloves back on. All right, got that nice and tight. Now you can see I can move this, so I already know that's about the length that I want. And there's a cool Thrashin logo there, and this spins and spreads just like this, which makes it nice. See how that way sucks it in, that way pushes it out, so it makes it real easy to adjust it. So I love that about it. All right, so now that we got that, I know that my mark is right around here somewhere. So we're gonna stick this guy in and align it as close as we can to where we had it. Boy, and that looks like just about right there. Anything else, I can adjust it close. So now that's in, looks pretty good. And if I need to bring this side down a little bit, I just twist this linkage and I can adjust the whole thing just like that. Tighten down these backing nuts to minimize it. It's a great linkage, I love this linkage. Okay, so we're pretty close to where we think we are. This is all the way in. I've captured the new easy shift, right? And so we're just gonna take the new Thrashin supplied bolt that comes with it, and we're gonna screw that in and get that snugged up. All right, so with the horn there, this bolt hole's a little bit lower down, so it's a little tough to get to it, where the other one's a little higher up. So finger tighten it down as low as you can, and I just used an Allen wrench to get in there and tighten it good and snug, because I got Loctite on there, right? So that's now on there, it's not going nowhere. Everything looks good. It's not binding. Make sure you center this in between this groove in here so that as it moves, it doesn't rub. We don't want that to happen. All right, so that looks good. Free motion, no binding. And that looks nice. All right, so now that everything is good there, now we're gonna snug up these lock nuts, or backing nuts if you will. Now these turn the same direction on both sides, which gives it that cool functionality to spin and adjust, which I think is great. So we're just gonna tighten these up. Hang on to it, again with your gloves, and snug them down. That way it doesn't move on you when you're riding. Now we're just gonna tighten up this bolt combination. It is a 1/2 inch on the back, and of course the 3/8 12 point on the front. So we're just gonna get that all in there and tighten this up. And again, make sure you're wearing gloves because those suckers are sharp. All right, now that we've got everything all done up here, that's all secure. Now we're gonna work on the board, and very similar to the other side, take out the 2 shoulder bolts, replace them with the other ones. Just as before, I've preset these to the forward position. So that's where I want them to be. Just make sure when you're doing yours that they're where you want them to be, because you can adjust them a good couple inches each direction, right? And you don't want to have one different than the other one, because you'll be surprised when you put your foot on the boards, right? So same thing, you get your 7/16 wrench and your 3/16 hex bit, and go up in there and loosen them all up. And there you go. So now you have your new Thrashin boards on both sides. We have the new updated inner easy shift arm. We have the Thrashin linkage. On the other side, we have a matching board and the P54 brake pedal, removing all things stock. And so now my complete setup here is all Thrashin on both sides, and I love it. Looks really good. So pretty pleased with the way it turned out. I think it looks really nice. Like I said, I've had these before on my other bike, and I really enjoy it. So We'll get the camera turned around, do a far back look and take a look at what it looks like, and then we'll do some closing thoughts. So back in a minute. Alright, so now we're out riding, testing out with the new Easy Shift and the boards, and let me tell you what, man, so much more comfortable. Really enjoy it. And gonna go through some Old Town Temecula down here to kind of check with some of these stop signs and see how neutral kicks in. Give us a good understanding of if I can find it easy. Like I said, this one didn't really have a lot of problems, but boom, right in it, no problem. Had about an 85% success rate before, and I haven't missed it yet. So pretty impressed with that. Once again, Thrashin products coming through, and real happy with it. Kicked in again, no problem. Let's try it again. No problem. Yeah, it just works great. So if you're looking to get one of these, highly recommend it. Looks nice, good quality product. And so far I've hit it every time. I've done it probably about 8 times right now, and I really like it. So there you go. Ops check good, and proven point. Okay, there you have it. So as you can see, pretty easy to do yourself. Not a very hard install at all, and looks really nice on the bike. I like the P54 pedal better than the stock. Much smaller, more streamlined for my application. Goes well with all the other stuff that I did. Really enjoy Thrashin products. They're just top quality, good feel to the bike, everything else, so I can't highly recommend them enough. And took me longer to film it than it did to do the install. If I wasn't filming this, probably could have gotten it all done in about a half hour. So very, very easy to do. Follow their instructions. And like I said, the only difference is I did not get the HD part for those shoulder bolts. I used some spare bolts that I had. So if you don't have those, then make sure you get the spare shoulder bolts from HD, and that's called out on their website underneath the page for these bagger boards, okay? So, but other than that, really enjoy it, think it looks great, and super easy install, a lot of fun to do, and I cannot wait to go get this thing out on the road and check it out. So, like, subscribe, give me any comments or feedback that you have. I do like to hear them all. Have a good one. Have a great weekend, week, whatever's coming your way. Be safe, be good humans, and catch you on the next one.